Taylor Swift's The Life of a Showgirl will break Adele's record for the best-selling album in its debut week in the United States on the Billboard charts. But most of those sales aren't from streams. They're from physical albums for all of the variants that Taylor Swift made available. But that is a conscious decision that is made months ahead of time by record labels and others to make sure that the materials, the capacity, and the inventory was there to make those physical albums available, which likely means that other artists and their albums may have not gotten the same priority. We also see this play out in films, where a movie like Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, his highest grossing movie to date, saw a bit of a dip in its second week, and maybe it would have seen a slightly smaller dip if there were more IMAX screens available. Ironically, guess which movie had taken up some of those IMAX screens? It was Taylor Swift's The Life of a Showgirl album release party. In 2023, Tom Cruise let his frustrations be heard when he wanted Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 to appear on as many screens as possible, but that inventory in IMAX was taken up by Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer movie. The supply for what is available for the premium screens, especially these premium screens that attract the super fans that want to watch the biggest movies on the biggest screens possible, can make a big difference in the box office numbers that we see. I also think about SZA's 2022 album, SOS, which sold over 300 units in the US on the Billboard charts in its first week, but most of those came from streams. What if one of the best-selling albums of the decade also had the same type of physical treatment that we've seen other artists get? That's how big of a difference this can make. So when you see a historic week, especially a first week, it's always good to make note. Is this because of demand or is it because of distribution? Now, don't get it twisted. The Swifties showed up. If the fans weren't there to buy those albums or listen to that music, then it wouldn't be doing the numbers that it did. But if we think about all of the records that are out there, how much of it does depend more on the supply? That's determined well before you and I decide whether to make that purchase.